Hi everyone, I'm Ray. This is Frank. This is Audrey, and this is Stella. Today we are honored to be here to talk about lack of sanitation. And I will talk about the introduction and recommendation 1. Audrey will present recommendation 2. Stella will present recommendation 3, and Frank will draw a final conclusion. Water is scarce around the world. Research said that there are 1.8 billion people living in absolute water areas or countries by 2025. They do not have enough water to sustain the current level of per capita grain production and meet emerging urban needs. Even at high level of irrigation efficiency. In addition, 350 million people will live in serious water areas due to lack of water resource and water pollution. Water sanitation was not enough to be used. Our presentation will focus on the solution for the lack of water sanitation. We propose 3 recommendations to help deal with the problem. The first one is establish laws to protect water resource. Number 2 is building and improve toilet infrastructure. The last one is education. And now let's see the recommendation 1. Establish laws and to protect water resource. Increase ecological degradation across the world is particularly acute in developed countries that are fully dependent on a custom service and are often the main contributor to poverty and social contradiction. To improve the water sanitation, we must protect the water resource. Generally, environmental law is broken into 3 categories. Pollution, pollution control and remediation on the one hand, and conservation of nature resource on the other. The source of all 3 of these laws derives from many sources and is heavily influenced by international treaties. As we all know, industrial pollution is one of the most biggest threat to water source, which lead by textile industry. Government should focus on textile industry pollution water and make a law to control the pollution. And firstly, prohibit the textile industry pollution water emission randomly. Government departments can supervise the process of textile wastewater and arrange for personal management. Sewage should be discharged in the right place and cannot pollute clean water, such as sewage treatment plant. For the offenders, give legal punishment. And secondly, limit the annual discharge of wastewater from the plant. The government needs to set a maximum annual discharge of wastewater, and all factories must be strict observed, and the offenders are given legal punishment. And now let's talk about the advantage. The law is legally binding. People must obey the law. The water source can be protected observably. And the disadvantage is industry development will become slower than before. And now it's my partner Audrey to talk about the second recommendation.
Hello everyone, my name is Audrey. I'm going to explain our second proposal, that's building and improving toilet infrastructure. I will be evaluating both the shortcomings and benefits of this recommendation and justify why this measure should be implemented. Now let's look at a global water sanitation of today. According to Dickens and Curtis, nearly half the world population lacks basic access to sanitation. In worst scenario, people defecate in open or public areas, which is commonly seen in less developed regions. Therefore, building and improving toilet facilities makes the first priority to upgrade sanitation. However, this practice has met with some challenges. It can be argued that the practice of building and improving toilet facilities failed to control the problem of sanitation due to low usage of improved toilets and prohibitive expenditure of construction. In regard to the first concern, Sana and Mulek claim that more toilet facility doesn't promote the use of toilets. A recent study in India found that people still defecate outdoors due to insufficient health consciousness rather than the lack of toilets. Furthermore, the high cost of construction is another challenge of this proposal. A recent study in Cambodia found that although people have a strong demand for toilets, such demand is hard to satisfy because toilet is an unaffordable $150 luxury, which would add to an enormous financial burden if the local government affords all the costs. Now I'm going to elaborate on the benefits of the measure from three perspectives, which are diseases prevention, the necessity for women, and economic benefits. First of all, this recommendation should be encouraged because it helps to prevent diseases. A research in northeastern Brazil found that hygienic toilet facilities could effectively prevent diarrhea. The study shows that diarrhea incidence of people with severe lack of sanitation is 3 times as much as those with sufficient toilet infrastructure. The second benefit is female necessity. Providing adequate sanitation can protect people's privacy and even lower down women's risk of getting raped or sexual harassment. According to Concros, in the countryside and some less developed cities of Asia, sexual harassment and rape usually happen to women who are on the way to and back from defecating. The last point I want to mention is economic benefits. In the study of Mera, Lan, Scott, and Tarbell, totally prevention of sanitation-related diseases can save about $7 billion in health system per year. For example, in Laos, because of poor sanitation and health conditions, the government loses nearly 5.6% of GDP yearly. In short, the economic gains will be sustained and long-lasting, which may cover the cost in toilet facilities building and gain extra interest in the long run. Admittedly, the practice of construction and developing toilet infrastructure has limited effect on addressing sanitation. However, the benefits from this practice far outweigh the drawbacks. Although more toilet facilities does not represent a high utilization rate, it is concerned that a higher health risk awareness is ineffective without the support of improved infrastructure, and capital spending will be balanced by long-term economic gains. Therefore, it is the most effective practice of today. However, it is a massive project which can never be completed without government funding and public support. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening. My partner Stella will provide another major education.
Okay, thank you, my partner Audrey. So in this part, I'm going to talking about the recommendation 3. And my recommendation is improve education and advertise. And here's my recommendation online. This is the background, and I'm going to talking about improve education and advertise. It can bring some advantages and disadvantages. And the last is my conclusion. Okay, this is the background. As we all know, sanitation has become the world's most serious problem in the world. According to this research, United and UNICEF in 2007, we can see there are 2.5 billion people lack of sanitation, and a million people die because of that. And moreover, there are 3 in 5 children die because of lack of sanitation every year. So it has become one of the most serious problems in the world, and how to solve this problem has become very difficult. My recommendation is improve education and advertise. So first, it can bring some advantages. The first of all, improve education is very necessary because the government have responsibility to open more class and offer more subject to let people know how to prevent themselves and how to reduce the disease because of lack of sanitation. According to this research, Hunter G in 2002, we can see improve education, it can efficiently prevent 9.1% of global disease burden. And moreover, it can also reduce 6.3 of deaths, which can be seen as very efficiently. Moreover, it is very necessary for children because we know in some developed countries, especially in Africa, millions of children lack of sanitation because they lack of the education. And most of children in every country, they have more responsibility to collecting water for their families. In the same time, it means they have no opportunity to achieve the class. So prevent more education, which can let children know how to prevent themselves and how to reduce the disease. It means they have more opportunity to go to school and accept more education and knowledge. The third advantage, which improve education and advertise, which can bring more economic benefits. According to this research, from 2008, it has been discovered that improve education and advertise, which can prevent people which can teach people how to correctly use sanitation, and it's mean people can know how to protect themselves away from disease and make people work more efficiently. And at the same time, it can also increase 20% employment. However, even coins have two sides. Improve education and advertise also can bring some disadvantage. The disadvantage is input capital pressure. If the government want to improve education and advertise, it means the government need to pay more money on that. However, in some undeveloped countries, especially in African countries, the government may have no ability to support these activities. So it means the government may impose public pay more tax to support this. However, it costs public pay more money on that and will cause increased stress on their economic. So this is the disadvantage about improved education and advertise. And all in all, this is my conclusion. We talk about the advantage and disadvantage about improve economic and disadvantage. It will reduce the disease, and it is necessary for children, and it is also can bring some economic benefits to the public. And this is the disadvantage. We just talked about it will cause more economic stress. And however, improve education and advertise can bring some benefits, but we can't ignore the disadvantage. And this situation, lack of sanitation, is still the most difficult problem in this world. And Next is our group member Frank to conclusion all the recommendation for us.
Okay, thanks, Stella. Well, our group proposed 3 solutions which can solve the problem: lack of sanitation. Firstly, let's review our group's recommendations, which are enact a law and improve infrastructure, and the last one is by education. However, for these solutions, there are always a few advantages and drawbacks. Advantages of these 3 solutions are shown on the screen. Recite law is cost-awareness. Citizens have to observe it. In addition, between war and sanitation, there is an absolutely connection. Law about sanitation, in fact, it also will protect water resources. About improved infrastructure and education, from Audrey and Stella's words, these 2 solutions will reduce the rate of disease, and both have economic benefits in the long term. The difference is improved infrastructure is the necessity of women, and about education is the necessity of children. As a result, these are advantages of 3 solutions. Now, according to our group members' words, disadvantages of the law is it will make industrial develop slower, and about improving infrastructure will make low usage of improved toilets and prohibitive expenditure of construction, because infrastructure needs a lot of money from government and time. The last one, education. It will impose capital pressure, because we have to find more labor to teach children about sanitation, and it's also waste sometimes. At last, by comparing 3 solutions, our group think the best solutions of these 3 is improve infrastructure. This doesn't mean that the other 2 solutions have no advantages. Nonetheless, law can regulate citizens' behavior. It cannot be accepted by citizens in a long term. It cannot fundamentally solve the problem about education. It is a long-term investment. It cannot have positive effect in the short term. As a result, improved infrastructure is the easiest way for most countries to implement. For example, America costs 2 years makes the coverage of sanitation from about 25% increase to about 45%. This means infrastructure can change sanitation in a short term, and infrastructure can be used for more than a decade. And it will not take much time to build it. Another side, in the long term, developing infrastructure can improve citizens' happiness and also have economic benefits. This is an effective solution both in the long term and in the short run. There are a lot of solutions, and our team will continue to study in the future. And this our group reference list. If you want to learn more about knowledge about sanitation, you can just click the link. And finally, at last, let's move on to the question time. If you are confused about our group works, or you have some question about lack of sanitation, you can ask us now.